Beyond the Gates spoilers tease that Derek Baldwin and Ashley Morgan will come to the end of their relationship by Monday, August 4th. Although the breakup stings and bruises both of them emotionally, neither is wrecked by heartbreak. Life moves too fast and new love already awaits each of them. Derek, decisive and self-assured, takes the initiative to break up. He does so not out of cruelty, but out of a quiet impatience. He senses the relationship has run its course. Still, despite his confidence, he can't help but feel a twinge of regret when he watches Ashley growing closer to Andre Richardson. That connection wakes something primal in him, that visceral jealousy he thought he had conquered. The ripple effects of that jealousy will set in motion a clash between Derek and Andre, with Ashley at the center whether she likes it or not. We open in early February 2025, with news outlets and social feeds buzzing about Derek and Ashley's breakup. Their once vibrant romance is over, replaced by cautious new attachments. Derek, ever the go-getter, soon appears on Shanice Johnson's arm. Shanice is radiant, enigmatic, someone with whom he laughs easily. Ashley, in turn, is often seen in Andre's company, their banter already almost effortless. The public perceives both transitions as mutual and relatively amicable. Naturally, they share mutual friends, social circles overlap, and there's gossip. No hard feelings, right? But beneath the surface, currents of competitiveness and unresolved tension swirl. The narrative shifts inside Derek's head. Privately, his thoughts keep straying back to Ashley even as he is physically beside Shanice. He tries to summon excitement about Shanice, and on the outside, he manages it easily. Smiles, flirtations, subtle intimacy. But sometimes he catches himself wishing not consciously that Ashley would call him jealous of what's happening with Andre. That flicker of desire to disturb her new equilibrium feels shameful. Meanwhile, Ashley, entering a fresh chapter with Andre, is aware of Derek's gaze. She doesn't seek confrontation, but every so often glances his way when Andre's voice pitches too high, or when Derek appears in a photo or a message on social media. Meanwhile, we see Shanice Johnson who, fresh in the dating scene with Derek, senses tension. She's no fool. She notices Ashley's presence, notices opportunities where Andre draws Ashley's attention at events. Shanice grows quietly watchful of Ashley and Andre's dynamic. Derek adapts, at first defensive, then subtly territorial. He doesn't say anything to Ashley. Instead, he presses closer to Shanice in public, magnifying their bond in exposed ways. A predatory shift. He doesn't lose his charm, doesn't need to, but he becomes more possessive, more anxious about signs that Ashley and Andre are more than friends. Andre Richardson, for his part, is steady, apparently affable. But Derek knows thing notably. Andre is also pursuing Danny Dupree. That ruffles Derek even more. He feels Andre is playing both sides, wooing Ashley, flattering Danny, cultivating influence in the Dupree family orbit. And Derek doesn't trust it. He perceives a pattern. Andre sidelines others to build his own alliances. The idea that Andre might be using Ashley to get closer to the Duprees, especially Danny, sets Derek's blood boiling. That jealousy darkens into protective anger, not just over Ashley, but over the Dupree circle that Derek has some ties to. He began casually hanging around them, part of that extended network. At this juncture, the story cuts to Haley Hamilton's mounting frustration. Her marriage to Bill Hamilton is strained. Bill has long-standing ties to the Dupree family, histories of business ventures, friendships, shared burdens. Haley feels suffocated by those entanglements. Every time Bill calls Danny or meets with the Dupree matriarch, Haley seethes. Her irritation isn't just petty, it's rooted in a deep sense of insecurity. Haley is newly pregnant, and she views her unborn child as leverage. She gently and not so gently reminds Bill he now has responsibilities to her and their baby, refusing to tolerate his lingering involvement with his ex, Danny Dupree. Bill hears it as ultimatums cloaked in tender talk. Do this, for our baby. And he chafes. He loves Danny too, or at least holds lingering affection, loyalty. He refuses to let Haley dictate his relationships without resistance. In earlier scenes, we see Haley confronting Bill in their kitchen late at night. She accuses. You always slip into their orbit. You call her. You worry about her like she's still part of your life. She rests her hand on her belly, eyes intent. She frames her pregnancy as debt and demand that he must choose, her and the baby, or those entangled ties. Bill bristles. That's not how love or loyalty works. You want me gone? You made a baby with me. The air sours. The argument ends unresolved. Bill storms out, hurt, leaving Haley alone with guilt and determination. All of this ties into the greater tension about secrets Bill keeps. Rumors whisper that Bill's connections and kindness toward the Duprees may have hidden costs. Perhaps he's signed off on decision financial or personal that could implicate him. Should that surface, the Duprees could turn against him, exposing him to scandal. Haley senses that danger and fears it. She knows too well that if Bill doesn't clean house, his past ties could come back to bite them, her unborn child included. Meanwhile, we shift to Articulettes, the music variety show that brings together Anita Dupree, Sharon Winger, and Tracy Tyler. Articulettes is supposed to be glamorous, empowering. In those early episodes, Anita commands the stage with charisma and polish. Sharon and Tracy support, each a rising star in her own right. But behind the curtains, Anita feels the scrutiny of her colleagues. Sharon and Tracy have offered advice. They warn Anita about pushing too many policies or making unilateral decisions that risk the show's cohesion. They argue that Articulettes depends on all three, that Anita can't alone carry success. Anita hears it as undermining her control. In one backstage confrontation, Sharon and Tracy approach Anita before a live broadcast. They tell her handling of a schedule change was tone-deaf, dismissive of the crew's needs. Anita defends, I know what the audience wants. I built this show, nothing works without me. The editors sense static, producers shout to keep the cameras rolling. But Anita doesn't relent. She perceives their counsel as jealousy or insecurity. So she pockets resentment and thrusts forward, determined to run Articulettes her way. On stage, Anita looks graceful but tense. Sharon gives a subtle cue. Tracy responds. They work, but the undercurrent is thick. Anita wants control. Sharon and Tracy want collaboration. By mid-February, cracks appear. A missed cue. A technical hiccup's blamed on the trio not working as one. Anita bristles. Sharon and Tracy whisper between numbers, we told you. This could happen. Anita shuts them down. But Sharon and Tracy escalate, pointing out errors in rehearsal. Anita, sweating under the glare, clenches her jaw. They leave a rehearsal with hard words unsaid, eyes angry. That night, Anita stews. She consults with her assistant, examines call logs, replays the episode footage. She's convinced that Sharon deliberately sabotaged a transition to make her look bad. Whether that's true or paranoia matters less, Anita believes the narrative of betrayal. It festers. She resolves, next performance, she'll prove who's boss. Early March, we return to Derek, Ashley, Andre triangle. At a mutual friend's party, Ashley arrives with Andre. Derek shows up with Shanice. The room shimmers with polite small talk. At one point, Andre laughs near Ashley, touches her arm lightly. Derek's smile falters. Later, Shanice invites Andre and Danny to sit beside her and Derek at dinner. Conversations overlap, drinks loosen tension. But Derek's gaze locks on Ashley and Andre, whispering. He halves his smiles. Something inside him threatens to snap. Suddenly, Andre stands and confronts Derek about his behavior. Cut the act, Derek. You're sizing me up. Derek retorts. You think you're the only one? She's not yours. It escalates until a mutual friend pulls them apart. Scenery awkward. Ashley rushes between them, voice trembling. Stop this. Shanice grabs Derek's arm. Danny and Andre drift away. The rest of the evening drains. Derek leaves stiffly. Ashley and Andre linger, shaken but together. In the aftermath, we see Derek texting Shanice, apologizing. He writes about boundaries he crosses, regrets the public strain. She responds with measured kindness. I know you, I know her. Meanwhile, Ashley and Andre talk in private. She says she wished Derek had handled it differently. He strokes her back, reassures her. But she hides tears. She understands Derek's upset, but she doesn't want to be pulled into Adam's drama or Derek's territory. At home, Derek lies awake, staring at his phone. Shanice sleeps softly beside him. He loves her, but his dreams carry Ashley's face. He wonders, did he end it because it was right or because he was selfish? He fears he misjudged Enra, but also fears Andre might have designs on shaking the world he built with Shanice. Meanwhile, Haley's pregnancy progresses. She begins to attend prenatal appointments, tense in the waiting rooms. Bill appears sometimes, charming staff, updating records. But when Danny's name surfaces an old file, a shared record, Haley flinches. She suspects Bill talks to Danny outside sessions. She roils inside, slipping into mood swings, volatile silence. Her warning to Bill becomes a threat. Because of me, you'd better never slip back to her. Bill's responses alternate between defensiveness and placation. He loves Haley and the unborn child, but he also can't sever empathy with Danny and the Dupree family history. In private, he wonders if Haley would truly end their relationship if she felt he betrayed her. On the Dupree side, we see Bill's occasional involvement subtle, caring, supportive. He checks on Danny's health or her mother's worsening illness, attends family gatherings, chipping in financially or emotionally. The Duprees are grateful but silent. Bill's support is quiet, measured. Yet Haley sees every interaction as betrayal, every gesture as entanglement. Back at Articulettes, on the eve of a major live event, tensions snap open. Anita meets with producers, receives notes about show flow, guest rehearsals. Sharon and Tracy arrive early. They want to rehearse interactions, run cues together. Anita tolerates it at first. But then Tracy brings up a suggestion about how the lighting cues sync with Sharon's solo moment. It's constructive criticism, but Anita perceives it as an affront, especially after weeks of friction. She lashes out, "I'm the one calling the shots. If you two want to fix things, you can leave the show." The producers look stunned. A hush falls. Tracy's lips tremble. Sharon's face tightens. They exit uncertainly. Backstage, Anita paces, heartbeat thunderous. She knows she's pushed them too far. Sharon and Tracy are essential. She considers reversing, delivering an apology. But pride quarrels with pragmatism. As showtime nears, she approaches them. Her initial words are clipped, "We're all professionals. I admit the tone was off. I apologize." Sharon and Tracy listen, skeptical. Then Anita lowers her gaze, voice shaking. "This show won't work without both of you." It's begrudging, raw. They don't embrace her but stay. Articulettes proceeds that night, but the collaboration is brittle, the energy forced. Then a producer suggests a celebratory after-party on set to smooth over tension. Anita agrees, wanting to cement unity. Guests arrive, champagne flows. Sharon is seated near Anita, Tracy across the room. Conversations circle. Anita masks her anxiety behind charm until someone innocuous cracks a joke referencing Anita's earlier assertion of control. The amusement around her feels mocking. She stiffens. A rumor spreads that Sharon had leaked something to the press earlier about backstage tensions. Anita hears the whisper. Fury ignites. Moments later, Anita stalks up to Sharon, finger pointed. "You set me off." Before Sharon can react, Anita swings. A punch, brutal and impulsive. Chaos erupts. Security intervenes as blood seeps. Sharon collapses unconscious. Tracy screams. People scatter. The party devolves into panic. Anita, shaken, tries to defend herself. She provoked Mesh lied. But cameras roll. Sharon is rushed out for medical attention. Paramedics arrive. Fans outside cry for updates. News spreads. Star punches co-star, hospitalized. Shortly after, police arrive. Anita is detained under assault charges. The set scene freezes. Producers shut the program down, cancel broadcasts. Articulettes is forced to end. Anita's career derailed, the show in ruin. That chain of events bursts like flames into Derek's world as well. because the news coverage links the incident to the Dupree sphere. Dani and her family come under media examination. Bill's presence at press events raises eyebrows. Derek reads headlines: Dupree turmoil, show cancellation, Hamilton connections questioned. He sees implications: his own entanglement via Andre and Dani, Shanice's discomfort, the public spectacle bleeding into personal territory. Before the dust settles, the first part of this story has sketched the early arcs: Derek's breakup with Ashley and new relationship with Shanice, jealousy and rivalry with Andre, Haley's pregnancy and bitterness toward Bill's lingering ties with the Duprees, and Anita's descent from confident leadership to breakdown and violent breakdown at a critical moment, triggering the collapse of Articulettes. The final threads remain unresolved: Derek's internal conflict, Ashley's loyalties, Bill's potential secrets, and the fallout of Anita's arrest. The emotional and social dominoes are rattling, and we're perched on the brink of confrontation, revelation, justice, and perhaps redemption or more destruction. In the days following Anita Dupree's arrest, the entire community becomes rattled. News of the Articulettes disaster spreads beyond entertainment circles. Tabloids explode. TV anchors replay footage of Sharon Winger's hospitalization, and the Dupree family is thrown into a new storm of scrutiny. While Anita remains in police custody awaiting arraignment, her siblings and extended family close ranks, but fractures deepen behind the scenes. Dani Dupree, already dealing with mounting complications in her personal life, is pulled deeper into chaos as whispers begin connecting her to Andre Richardson more openly. Andre finds himself at the center of a moral implosion. The man who once carried himself with quiet confidence is now juggling two relationships, both intensifying by the day. Ashley Morgan senses the distance. At first, she ignored it, telling herself Andre was simply overwhelmed by the fallout with Anita and the pressure facing the Duprees. But by mid-August, patterns begin emerging: missed calls, late-night excuses, and a suspicious frequency of Andre being seen with Dani during emotionally charged family moments. When Ashley confronts him, he doesn't deny it. He offers rationalizations: Dani needs support right now. But Ashley isn't naive, and for the first time, her confidence in Andre begins to fracture. Meanwhile, Derek Baldwin watches from a distance, quietly vindicated by the drama unfolding. He had warned repeatedly that Andre had ulterior motives. Derek isn't above taking a small sense of satisfaction in the chaos, but he doesn't enjoy watching Ashley hurt. His relationship with Shanice Johnson, however, is not untouched by this. Shanice doesn't miss the way Derek's protective instincts toward Ashley keep surfacing. After one too many conversations that drift from Andre's betrayal to Ashley's feelings, Shanice finally calls it out: "Are you with me? Or are you still wrapped up in her story?" Derek doesn't answer. His silence says enough. Shanice distances herself, not in anger, but in resignation. She wants more than emotional leftovers. She starts spending time with friends away from Derek's circle, creating space that Derek finds himself increasingly uncomfortable with. When she stops responding to texts for a few days, Derek realizes what he's lost. But by then, Shanice has already begun exploring a future without him. Ashley, simultaneously navigating her disillusionment with Andre, begins reassessing her own path. She isn't interested in going backward, but she doesn't want to repeat her mistakes either. In an unexpected moment of vulnerability, she reaches out to Haley Hamilton, whose sharp tongue and unfiltered insight have always intimidated others. Ashley seeks perspective. How do you know if someone's just filling a gap or if they actually belong in your life? Haley, cradling her swollen belly, leans back and answers, "You don't. You just know who makes you feel like you're disposable and who makes you dangerous to lose." Haley herself is walking a precarious line. Her pregnancy has become both shield and weapon. She continues to press Bill Hamilton for distance from the Dupree clan, and when he resists, she escalates. During a doctor's appointment, Haley drops a quiet threat: "If I find out you're lying about seeing Dani, I'll make sure your child doesn't bear your name." Bill is stunned. It isn't just jealousy anymore, it's veiled war. And worse, Bill knows he hasn't completely cut ties with Dani. Danny, for her part, is more complicated than ever. Her relationship with Andre remains ambiguous, emotional if not romantic. She leans on him, but also manipulates him. She senses Ashley's unraveling and doesn't flinch. She calls Andre late at night, sometimes crying, sometimes cryptic. One night, Ashley answers his phone when Danny calls. The silence on the line is chilling. Danny doesn't hang up. She says, softly, "You should ask him where he was the night Sharon got hurt." Then she hangs up. Ashley is rattled. That one sentence opens a door to new suspicion. Could Andre have known what Anita planned? Could he have encouraged it? She starts investigating. Quietly, without alerting Andre, she reaches out to Tracy Tyler, still reeling from Sharon's injury. Tracy is reluctant at first, tired of the drama, scarred by the betrayal, but once Ashley shares Danny's cryptic comment, Tracy listens. They review backstage footage, social messages, even production memos. Patterns emerge, texts deleted, audio cuts edited post-recording. Someone was shaping a narrative before the punch ever landed. Back with the Hamiltons, Bill receives an anonymous envelope. Inside are photographs of him outside the Dupree estate on 3 separate occasions since Anita's arrest. One of the images shows him embracing Danny. The implication is clear: someone is watching, and someone wants leverage. Bill panics. He confronts Danny, who denies sending the photos but warns him, "You're in deeper than you think. Haley isn't your only threat." Haley, meanwhile, begins connecting her own dots. A late-night glance through Bill's email reveals cryptic exchanges with Danny, thinly veiled under business pretense. She doesn't rage, she plans. She reaches out to Sharon Winger's attorney, offering a statement that might connect the Hamilton family to the Dupree's current legal troubles. She frames it as civic duty, but it's retaliation cloaked in righteousness. As the investigation into Anita's assault deepens, prosecutors begin exploring whether the attack was premeditated and if others were complicit. Andre, already under informal scrutiny, is pulled in for questioning. His denials are smooth, but the timeline betrays him. Records show he was in the building well before call time and that he accessed restricted areas backstage. He claims it was innocent checking equipment, talking to Anita, but suspicion grows. Tracy receives a subpoena to testify. So does Ashley. The case snowballs. The public no longer sees it as an isolated act of violence. It becomes a scandal touching all levels of the Dupree circle. Sponsors flee. The name Dupree loses luster. Danny becomes reclusive. Andre's relationships crumble. Ashley ends things definitively after learning he visited Anita in jail without telling anyone. He claimed it was to hear her side of the story. But Ashley knows the truth. He's been embedded in the Dupree orbit too long to be impartial. Derek, now solo again, attempts to re-establish contact with Ashley. This time, it isn't about jealousy, it's about unfinished business. He apologizes not for breaking up, but for not respecting the boundaries afterward. Ashley listens. They talk for hours, not about love, but about patterns. Toxic ones. Cycles they keep repeating. Ashley says, "We always wait too long to choose ourselves." Derek agrees. They part not as lovers, not even as friends, but as survivors who finally saw the damage from the outside. Haley's pregnancy nears its final trimester. At a prenatal class, she collapses. The hospital rushes her into observation for eclampsia. Bill arrives, shaken. He pleads with her, "Let's stop this. We're destroying each other." She looks at him, weak but clear-eyed. "You destroyed this when you made Danny more important than your family." Later that night, she tells the nurse to remove Bill from her visitor list. The tension builds toward a final reckoning. Anita is released on bail but refuses interviews. Tracy and Sharon both file civil suits against her. Danny is named in both, accused of influencing Anita's actions and shielding key witnesses. Bill is drawn in as a character witness, while Haley threatens to release all communication logs between him and Danny if he testifies on the Dupree's behalf. Bill is cornered. No matter what he chooses, he loses someone. In a quiet moment before the first court hearing, Ashley sits alone in her car, reading a statement she plans to make on the record. She wrote it with Tracy's help. It details not just the night of the assault, but the months of coercion, manipulation, and silence that enabled it. It names names, timelines, motives. It's damning. Meanwhile, Andre sits in his apartment, watching the news. A story airs. Sharon Winger has made a full recovery and will be returning to the stage with Tracy, without Articulettes. A new show. A new chapter. Andre leans back alone. No Ashley. No Danny. No allies. By the time the trial begins, the Dupree name has fallen from grace. Sponsors pull support. Local venues distance themselves. Bill Hamilton faces disciplinary hearings at his firm. Haley prepares to raise her child as a single mother. Derek and Ashley don't reconcile, but they do exchange one last message. We survived. No punctuation. Just an acknowledgement that something is ending. And as Anita steps into court, dressed in black, no makeup, no entourage, the world watches. Not just for the verdict, but for the fallout that will follow it. Because in this world, truth isn't enough to save you. It just decides who burns first.